very definition of failure is when a goal is not met, a person or a thing is unsuccessful, or a complete system breakdown. People often describe failure as defeat, and that feeling leads to frustration. Failure and frustration go hand in hand. It's akin to what come first, the chicken or the egg. In the context of beekeeping, I would describe failure as a lack of success. At least, that's my cup half full observation. Lord knows, my cup has been half empty during this beekeeping journey, many times. Honestly, if it wasn't for the positivity of my beekeeping buddies, shout out Trent, I may have hung this journey up in year one. That's what failure does. That's what failure is. But if you look at it in terms of lack of success and not failure, then there's something to be learned. I've heard that you should not quit in the first 3 years of beekeeping, which is sound advice because there's just so much to learn, which means there are so many opportunities to fail. But unlike many other words, failure, it has a redemptive quality. Failure can be overcome. Lack of success now doesn't mean lack of success tomorrow. It's all how you look at it. Now I have to come to terms with my failure. I failed. I failed at my goal of getting the bees to draw out 20 frames in 2 double deeps this year. It simply didn't happen. Now I don't think the bees failed. I think the failure was on my part. I needed to know what to give them to make sure they had everything they need to be successful in year one. And today, well, today's the day I clean up that failure and do what is necessary to get these bees through the upcoming winter. Today's the day I have to open up this double deep and show the entire world my failure. During the previous episode, you've seen how I tried to feed the bees to get them to draw out the comb, but unfortunately it just didn't work. I've been feeding these bees for a month and a half at least, solid. But as you see, they still haven't drawn out the frame. And from everything I've learned or read or talked to or watched on YouTube, this is not abnormal. This rarely happens during the fall. That's something that I pretty much set myself up for failure. I didn't know that the bees typically don't draw out frames in the fall. It's a spring thing. This is that redemptive quality that I mentioned earlier. I now know and have learned I need to really buckle down and get these bees to get the comb drawn out during the spring. That means I need to probably feed them heavy. I need to do whatever I have to do to get them to draw this comb out. And oftentimes that means feed. Yes, there is a heavy nectar flow, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't need to feed, especially in year one. These are all things that I have failed on, and all things that I've learned so far in year one of beekeeping. As I pull each frame out, it's just a constant reminder of failure. Something that I don't take lightly. This was super frustrating for me to do. I wanted these bees to draw out this comb oh so bad. I mean bad. But frame after frame after frame after frame, all the way down to the last frame, nada. Taking this double deep off was probably the hardest part of this failure. I really thought having 10 frames in a single deep that those bees would have filled up that second double deep no problem. But the problem was, they didn't. Now, I decided to not feed these bees because they have so many frames of stored pollen, it's not even funny. So I took out the feeder, and here's where I'm trying to take out the reducer, but once again, that was a failure too because I broke it right there. Normally I would glue that back together and then put it in, but I just didn't have the time. So I put it back in the single deep and kind of shimmied it around, and I figured the bees will glue it down with propolis, no problem. You know, a couple months ago, I wouldn't have believed you if you told me I'd be putting these frames and boxes back where I got them.
In the depths of silence, where echoes remain, you were the sunrise, and I was the rain. A collision of souls, opposing in flight. I was the darkness, you yearned for the light. Now you're gone, and I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Now you're gone. Why did you call me up, bring me out, and leave me high and dry?
You know, at the end of the day, failure is just a word. It's not a state of mind or a thing, it's just a word. How are you going to handle that failure? What kind of character are you going to show? Let's learn and let's fix it for next year.